For the large amount of characters that are in Fire Emblem Heroes, you've got to think that at least a handful of them have got to be quite bad. If that's what was on your mind, then you would be absolutely correct, because today we're going to be counting down the top 5 worst units in Fire Emblem Heroes. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, since I post a lot of videos like this frequently, and there may be some other content that interests you as well. Also, if you want a chance to win either a Google Play or an iTunes card, go ahead and check out the brand new giveaway by me, linked in the video description down below. It costs nothing to enter and it's completely region free. I used to put the actual codes themselves hidden somewhere in the video, but that turned out to be a disaster, so I'm doing it this way instead. Now then, something to keep in mind before we begin is that the unit's fodder potential is not taken into consideration, since we are looking at the unit themselves, not something that they can offer to another character entirely. As always, this list is based off of my opinion as well as several facts, but that being said, if you like any of the characters on the list, feel free to build them. It's your life and you can do whatever you want, so don't be upset if one of your favorites turn up on the list. Fingers crossed that was enough damage control, but let's get straight into it.
Sorry.
Starting this list off with the faithful spy himself, Matthew. This is a character pretty much all of you should have already, since he's given to you at the very start of the game whether you wanted him or not, unless you sent him over, of course. If you go ahead and check out his stats, you can easily see that he's not the hardest hitter in the world at a base attack of 25. He does fine in the speed stat all things considered, and his physical defense is pretty good as well for a dagger unit. When it comes to his default kit, Matthew's weapon of choice is the Rogue Dagger Plus, and it has a Midas 7 but lowers the enemy's defense and resistance by 5 through their next actions, and also raises the wielder's defense and resistance by 5 for one turn. It's not that great of a weapon, so I would skip out on the use of that one. He's got Reciprocal Aid for his assist skill, and for the passives he has Poison Strike for the B slot and Hold Speed for the C slot. All in all, a fairly underwhelming set of default skills, but if you want Matthew, summon on a colorless stone in any banner, and if your luck is bad, you'll have a chance to get him. Once you do get him and choose to build him, here are a few options ranging from budget friendly on the far left and gradually increasing the sacrifices the further to the right you go. But while you're taking a look at the sets, let's talk about why Matthew is on this list. Let's start with the elephant in the room, his really low attack stat. At a base attack of 25, he's in neck-to-neck competition with Clarine, and that's not a good sign. Even if you do inherit another weapon or have an attack boon, it'll be hard to have him reach any reasonable amount of attack. Plus, on top of it all, you may also want a speed boon in general, since the last thing you want is to get doubled. He also has really low resistance, so dragons, which are super common nowadays, as well as mages, will have a field day fighting Matthew any day of the week. All that being said, due to his very low attack stat and lack of resistance, the faithful spy Matthew is number 5 on this list.
Pitiful.
Next up, we've got Marth's Guardian, the veteran knight Sagan. It might have to be time to retire the old man, but let's take a look at his stats regardless. The first thing that probably catches your eyes is high resistance, and it's cool. He actually has the second highest resistance stat in the game, only to be beneath characters such as Winter's Envoy Tharja, Halloran Henry, and Riss. His HP is not too special, his attack is pretty low, and his speed as well as defense is pretty forgettable. Moving on to his kit, we've got the Silver Lance Plus for his weapon, which is fine. Next, for the special, he's got Aegis, so that helps him even more in terms of tanking tome users. And then for the passives, he has Fury for the A slot and Fortify Cavalry for the C slot. That's actually pretty good, since he makes use of everything given to him, really. If you want Jagan, summon on any blue stone within any banner and then don't cross your fingers. Once you obtain him, here are various builds you can go with regardless of budget, starting with the most accessible on the far left and increasing the value the more you go to the right. While you're checking those out, let's talk about why Jagan is here in the first place. He's got 27 base attack, meaning that he's gonna have a whole lot of trouble knocking out units in one round. That, as well as his base speed of 24, you can't really count on him to double pretty much anybody, but you could definitely count on the enemy running circles around you. And with base 25 defense, you better hope it's not a melee unit that chooses to attack you. Even with the buffs you may get from Hone Cavalry or Fortify Cavalry even, you will still often be relying on skills such as Iceberg or Glacius to actually finish foes. And who's to say that you will even get a special up quick enough in the first place? Jagan's only good stat is resistance, and due to his lack of offensive capabilities and speed, you can hardly say that he's a counter to mages or any character in general, which is why he is number 4 on this top 5.
So dark.
Following that, we have the Potent Force Odin. Now this one is a real shame because I know a lot of you like this guy, but they did him real wrong. Right when you take a look at his stats, you can already see why he would be on a list like this. At a base attack of 22, he has the second lowest attack in the entire game, only to be above Azama. That is really unfortunate because he doesn't excel in any other stat either. His base kit is pretty good. I know a lot of people, including myself, gave him up for skill inheritance more times than I can count. Starting with his weapon, the Blar Blade Tome, which adds total bonuses on unit to damage dealt, making it a solid weapon indeed. Next for his special, he's got Moonbow, and for the passives, we've got Defiant Attack for the A slot and Red Tomebreaker for the B slot. If you want Odin, summon any blue colored stones on any banner, and if the luck is not on your side, he will appear on the screen. Probably. Once you do get him, here are a few builds you can go with depending on how much you're willing to fodder. While you're looking at those, let's touch a little bit more on why he is on this list. His base attack is 22. He can't be counted on in the slightest to do massive amount of damage to the enemy, regardless of who it is. Even with the chance of getting off a special skill, things are still not looking up for Odin. Sure, he's not the slowest character in the world, but man, it's a real toss-up when it comes to whether you want plus speed IVs or plus attack, since he desperately needs anything he can get to boost his damage output, but at the same time, he doesn't want to get doubled. It's pretty self-explanatory unfortunately, but that is why Odin is on this top 5.
What a shame.
It's a real shame to see him on a list like this, but next up is the Seeker of Wisdom, Canas. At the time of uploading this video, he literally just came out no less than 2 days ago, and he's on a list like this, which is rough. Taking a look at his stats, he excels in resistance quite heavily and nothing else really, which is scary. He has a pretty low base stat on everything else, so that sucks. Although his default kit is pretty good, starting with the Raw Owl Plus, and that gives a boost to all stats by the number of adjacent allies times 2, so that's pretty nice. For his assist skill, we have Reciprocal Aid, and then the passives include HP/Resistance 2 for the A slot, and Resistance Tactic for the C slot. If you want Canas, you can obtain him by doing the Tempest Straws Plus event called Feud of the Fangs, and once you reach a certain amount of points, you can get him 2 times. If you choose to build him, here are some builds that you can go with depending on how much fodder you have. While you're checking out those builds, let's talk about why Canas is on this list. Firstly, he has no access to IVs or additional merges outside of the one you get, and that heavily limits him. I wanted to put him before somebody like Odin, but this weighs him down quite heavily. His attack isn't the worst in the world, but I wouldn't say it's good. You can possibly do some work if you activate something like Iceberg or Glacies, but that's way too situational. That being said, his low offensive capability and high resistance being his main redeeming quality is why Canas is on this list. Before I show you the worst character in Fire Emblem Heroes, here are some honorable mentions. Spring Prince Xander, Crimson Knight Sully, and Dark Child Ray. Now it's time to find out who is the worst.
Done in.
And last but definitely least, we are ending things off with your butler back in the Fire Emblem Fates days, the devoted servant Jacob. He's been around for a while now, and if you can believe it, there was a time where he was summonable at a 5-star rarity, which hurt my feelings quite heavily, especially when he had ruined my pity rate a couple of times. If we take a look at his oh wait, that's the wrong Jacob, my apologies. I must have misplaced him with the good version. My mistake, but his stats are evenly balanced across the board and his kit is not the greatest. Let's see what he's got. Jacob's weapon of choice is the Silver Dagger Plus, Rally Resistance for the assist skill, and then for the passives he's got Defense +3 for the A slot and Renewal 3 for the B slot. That's not the worst set in the world, but it's far from great. If you want Jacob, summon on any colorless stone when you're feeling down on your luck and he might just pop up at either a 3-star or 4-star rarity. If you decide to build him, here are some builds ranging from budget friendly on the far left and more expensive the further right you go. While you're looking at those, let's talk about what's wrong with him. Firstly, his stats are very balanced indeed, but that doesn't mean he's good in any particular one. At a base attack of 29, he's surely not a monster, but at a defense and resistance of 25 and 24 respectively, he's no tank either. He has a base speed of 31, which was actually pretty good when the game released, but nowadays it's not anything too special. Also, if you choose to inherit any other dagger, there isn't a 100% chance the unit you stole the dagger from to give to Jacob is a better unit. Next, well, that's it really. If your stats are not that good, you're kinda doomed from the start. If you want an easy to merge good dagger unit, go on and build yourself a Kazi or something, because you'll get a lot more mileage out of someone like that than Jacob. All that being said, the devoted servant needs to be a devoted monster soon or else he's going straight home, which is why Jacob is the worst character in Fire Emblem Heroes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more videos like this on a very consistent basis. Also, a huge thank you to my good friend Phoenix Master 1 for making the builds shown in this video. Make sure to subscribe to him. His link is in the video description down below and on screen now. Best of luck in the giveaway, and I will catch you guys later.